Hi, this video is going to look at changing objectives and why business objectives differ between different businesses. All of the bullet points that I'm going to go through are basically taken from the specification here. So we've talked about what an aim is. An aim is a really clear goal that a business organises its resources in order to achieve. So every business has a unique objective. So every business is trying to achieve different things. Okay, so what does that going to depend on? Well, the first thing that a business's objectives might depend on is the size of the business. Okay, so the target is has to be realistic for the business to achieve. So, you know, a little newsagent's corner shop, you know, their target might be to make £10,000 worth of profit in a year. Now, that might be a real success for that business if it makes £10,000 worth of profit in 1 year. Whereas if a large company like Sainsbury's or Tesco were to set that as an objective, you know, £10,000 worth of profit is nothing to those organisations. So, you know, the size of the business will determine realistic objectives for that business. The age of a business has an impact as well. So, you know, often businesses will simply set the aim of surviving their first year or two, particularly businesses in highly competitive industries like restaurants. But as an organisation grows and becomes established, that aim of simply surviving becomes less appropriate over time, and it's time to start setting more realistic objectives like growth or making a profit, etc. The level of competition an organisation faces can have an impact on an organisation's profitability and what's realistic for it to achieve. So more competition tends to mean fewer opportunities for sales and profit growth. So an organisation might wish to consider, you know, in a highly competitive market, you know, increasing its market share, gaining sales from its competitors might be a good aim. Whereas a business that faces relatively low levels of competition might want to profit maximise because they know that their customers, to a certain extent, if they want to use this product, have to shop with them. The type of business has a huge impact on the aim. Obviously, not-for-profit organisations have a whole range of objectives that I've discussed in the video on not-for-profit organisations, but they would tend to, you know, look at providing a service or achieving a particular target that's not related to making profit. And finally, the owners of a business, you know, can have hugely different objectives. Sole trader would be able to set their own target, you know, but as an organisation grows and maybe the ownership structure changes, or a private limited company turns into a public limited company that's got shareholders who want to maximise their dividend payments rather than be interested in, say, the long-term growth of an organisation. The owners of a business, of course, have a huge impact on what the targets of that business are going to be, and the more owners there are, the more different views there are on what sort of targets should be set. So one of the things that you need to be aware of is that students should consider how the objectives of larger, more established businesses might differ from smaller ones, and how business objectives might change as the business evolves. Well, I showed this in a previous video, but you know, this is a very kind of generic look. Every business is unique and will have a different set of objectives, and you could be entitled to argue these, but, you know, in the early stages of a business, it's simply wanting to survive, to break even, just to make enough money to cover its costs. As a business becomes established and you know, gains in confidence, it might look to you know, increase the number of branches within the country. It might want to increase their market share, steal customers off their competitors, look at increasing customer satisfaction. And then as an organisation continues to grow, it might look at maximising shareholder value, maximising its profit, or look to international growth. Some people might might say that a business would, at stage 3, introduce some social and ethical aims. Other businesses do that right from the start. And you could make an argument for putting all of these in different places. Maybe an established business, if the level of competition in the market increases, it just wants to survive. So I'm not saying that this is set in stone, but you need to have an understanding that business objectives change as a business grows and evolves. And this might be a useful framework for looking at how that happens.